Glad to have you back on the show, and it's time for us to talk nothing but politics, which we usually do every Tuesday. For about 6, 7 months, we've been speaking virtually. He's been a very, very regular guest on this show, and he's contributed dispassionately, lending us his own perspectives on so many issues we've been talking about. But today, is very, very much here with us in the studio. I'm talking about none other than David Adeoye Abodnuri. He's a management consultant and a management coach. A pleasure having you on our program.
Awesome being here, Dickie. Good to see you, my people, Ambassador and Pastor Chris. Good to see you. Excited to be here. Thank you for having me live in the studio. Although we normally talk online, but I'm excited.
When you came in live, I was wondering. I was still trying to, say
picture.
Yeah. I was just, but it's so great having you here. And like you mentioned, your contributions have been quite immense, and we want to say a very big thank you for always being there.
Thank you.
I remember there are times we call you at very short notice, and you're here. So live and direct, we have you.
I'm excited. Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you so
we
much.
actually will be really, really talking much more about the Roforoho fight in the, Edo State. But before we move into that, a quick one. Let's take a look at the 100 days plus of the president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. How will you score him so far? Have there been gains?
Yes. There have been a couple of gains. We have a reactive, a living being as president. So one of the characteristics of living beings is that they respond and they react. So you have statements like, I'm aware of what you are going through, I know what's going on, and a lot of speeches and speaking, a lot of communication. I mean, people criticized him a few days ago about not having a CBN governor, a substantive CBN governor. How can your CBN governor be in jail? That's your economy in jail for a long time, or he's in trial, and you're not doing anything about it. You're not charging him. You're playing politics. You're negotiating, plea bargaining, and whatever you're doing. And he elected someone. Again, is that person qualified? Does he have the capacity to do it? Discussion for another day. But he responds. Asiwaju responds, and that's good for him. Because we've had president in this country, he didn't select minister for more than 6 months. He pushed out and just kept quiet. You say everything's happening, you just keep quiet. And so that's a good one. Number two is that there's some long shots he's pulling. I mean, how do you have a Bosun Tijani as Minister for Technology Communications? That's an unusual radical move, and that's good. Total fresh blood, long range pullout, total outlier behavior. But if you know culture and governance and politics, Bosun may be inexperienced, for example, to run the civil service and the energies they're in. So, but at least a good shot. So a couple of good shots like that. But there are bigger negatives. The economy in terms
of the gains.
Yes, they are big. The liability of the economy, the exchange rate, the inflation rate, the issues with crude oil, and the politics of fuel in terms of the lives of the people, the microeconomic, micro-less, if there's anything like that, delivery of standards of living on the ground is bad. People are paying exorbitant prices, and there is no inflow. And then when you want to give inflow, you say you do palliative. What's what somebody, the gentleman from Abekta the other day on the program called palliative. I mean, you just don't throw money at problems. Throw thinking and intelligence at problems. You just give big billions to state governors, and we don't know how they managed it. The money has probably been disbursed under a CBN governor that is in discussion, that there's no CBN governor who manages how they disburse those funds. So I'm worried about all of those. And how can we have the pound sterling today to be there about 1,000, almost 200 now? And then the dollar is just a little bit above 1,000. And if you don't do anything, I'm sorry, I don't like to be having bad news. I've told people anyway that we're going to 1,005, 1,008. I said to these people about 3 or 4 years ago, there's also global politics going on. And I think Asiwaju is too fast to play to global politics, maybe because he's trying to assert himself. I mean, the position he's taking around Mali, Niger, and all of that is too Western, in my opinion. And there's no Pan-Africanism, in quote, in terms of sitting across the table with your brothers to speak common language and then try and find African solutions, not because the West is trying to, I don't want to go fifth columnist. Why are we exporting majority of our minerals into the foreign economies of the world, and there are none across Africa? We have in Nigeria every single mineral known on earth. Every single mineral known on earth is available, and the lives of the people doesn't reflect it. We got gold, for example, that you are using to just to pick billions of naira out, according to Femi Falana, in a very open conversation that's all over social media. And so I'm very worried about sitting and then playing politics and putting Asiwaju cap a certain direction when people are dying every day. The cap, they're having fake meeting and consulting and doing all manner of grandstanding, but people are dying on the ground. This is a big liability for me on Asiwaju. And my last point about his 100 days, it won't be there forever. This 100 days, another 100 days, 1,000, and then 2,000, some number of thousands of hours, and they'll be out of the place after 4 years. After 8 years, if God blesses him with longer life, and which we are praying, and we're not praying for evil to happen to anyone, he should remember that at the terminal exit of life, destiny prepares all for clarity. It will one day be written. Obasanjo is ex-president now, and is now making a lot of pan-Africanism or pan-Nigerian leadership quotes everywhere, but he was also there for 8 years. That's what we're going to talk about him too. What will we say about him? Is he the one we are waiting for? We should be looking out for another Messiah. Like I think John the Baptist's disciples asked Jesus Christ, or John sent him to ask Jesus Christ. Are you the one we are waiting for? Or is it people that asked John the Baptist and said, no, the one that is coming, who I'm bearing is shoe latchet. So maybe Asiwaju is coming to herald a shoe latchet. It's a prophetic interpretation. And there's another dimension. He can make himself the leader by refusing not to do the right thing. Because after now, is when we enter the history books. He can use the occasion to clean all the liabilities, or he can also enter the annals of history as one of those who did not do anything when they were the people in the rock.
Had the opportunity. Wow. You know, what a very elaborate summary. It's a summary and very, very elaborate on the 100 years. But you said something of interest. We've been hearing from the grapevine, because we've been hearing sources here and there, particularly about fuel subsidy.
Okay.
We hear that the regime has been reinstituted. And we don't know how true that is. The independent marketers came out to say that the government should come clean, that there are undercurrents, which...
subsidy.
Yes.
So I don't know what you think.
The politics of subsidy has become a cultural behemoth. It has become an albatross. You see, behavioral economics is very powerful. The grandstanding is on the outside. Even if subsidy were not removed and reinstated, backdoorish, it's been reinstated, trust me, in another way, because the noise has died down. Corruption has legitimate and illegitimate, open and covert means of fighting. And it won't be easy to remove subsidy. My only grouse with Mr. President was that he allowed himself to be rushed into that decision. He had always been saying it anyway.
Or he rushed himself?
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of politics that happened in that period, and their calculations are funny. You see, the man who is his friend, who has a refinery around Lekki, was a major reason why that thing was done. Unfortunately, he too wasn't ready. So many not ready states. So many, there's a way to manage uncertainty. You don't increase uncertainty by making more variables complex to manage. So
you don't increase uncertainties by making more variable
factors
complex to manage.
Yes. That thing made it very complex. I mean, when you step into battle, every war general knows in military strategy that you establish hold. Yeah. When you take over a garrison, the Bible, for example, because I'm a student of medieval history and history, apart from the Bible that corroborates the Bible, I'm a student of that. Every time David, the king, got into a place, he will consolidate his hold and he will establish his flag. And then the Bible will say, and the garrison of Saul or of the Philistines became the garrison of David. You see that repeats itself. So sector by sector, area by area, you establish your hold. But Asiwaju stepped into moving water. without some sufficient stability. Maybe because he was trying to hit the ground. There was a political stunt where he was pedaling a gym.
Yeah.
Yes.
And said he's going to hit the ground running. So he hit the ground running. Now hitting the ground running is not bad, but you must be running on firm ground. So there were too many variables, and then that fuel affects every single life, and it affects every part of the economy.
True.
And this is the painful part. It doesn't come down.
Yes.
When fuel rises, it's a general rise in prices and lifestyle, and it never returns back. No government in Africa, in Nigeria, I beg your pardon, has ever gotten that thing right. They say we'll do palliative. We make the money available for education. Your children will go to better school. They will always, the same pattern. And we mentioned one of the things that I was comforted about Asiwaju was maybe his human resource capacity. His ministerial list bow to politics. Eventually, then maybe he has PAs that he work with. I'm laughing. I'm looking. Nigeria is big and complex. He should have established his foothold in some things before you fight corruption in a certain way. For fuel, here's the sober truth. The days of fossil fuel dying off. We're going to go green energy and electricity. So this entire politics around and how much money we are bleeding is a nonsense bleeding. The future is going in that direction, and we are still paying money to some marketers. There are ingenious solutions, like, for example, bring companies into Nigeria who will make electric cars or cars that use solar to be more popular. That's the power of government. You take the wind off the entire sail. Begin to remove power off the fuel economy gradually, because that's where the world is going. We have abundance of sun. In Nigeria, we have abundance of sun. It's called the land of the midday sun. That's Africa. So the energy around corruption and fuel and paying money for the marketers require a lot of intelligence and influence. If they don't pay them directly, they will pay them indirectly. It's a strong cabal.
Well, I think just resonating some of the things we've said over time about the fact that these cabals seem to be stronger than the government. They've empowered individuals as against empowering the institution of government. Yeah, Paul.
Yes, you know, while you said these things, what just came to my heart is more or less like, you talk about the fossil fuel and everything. It's more like the intentions, like seeing the Joseph going to Egypt and giving them a pre-warning for time and letting them know that there's going to be days that are coming. But we'll have to prepare ourselves ahead of those days.
Yes, because fuel is dying. Fossil fuel is dying.
So at this point, we talked about these things. I said Nigeria has a lot of resources and everything. How do we really help? Because it's beyond even the government. Because right now the government is doing this, but that's quite limited. A lot of things fighting them, the cabals and different unseen forces, those things happening. But how can we really enjoy what we have? We have too much dependency on oil, but in the north, there's gold. And they're not saying at any given time that it is for Nigerian, quote.
In Elisha, there is gold.
Yes, I'm very much aware, because I was in Elisha for 2 years. I stayed in Elisha for 2 years.
In Osun State.
But what you have in Elisha, or the major thing you have in Elisha in quote, it was a brewing company. That was like the major employer of labor.
That's true. It was the lager beer.
But we have it. That is the.
We have gold.
We have gold,
but the major employer of labor in that same vicinity,
in that vicinity
is lager beer.
I was in. So how do we?
Laughable.
Misplaced priority.
Oh my God! You won't understand. You won't understand. Only Jesha people understand the joke. Anybody that's lived in Elisha. The lager beer is gold.
Yes.
If you mess up with an Ijesha man's lager beer, it's a major problem. But he has gold being mined in his backyard. The guy will always take 2 bottles. What can give him eternal bottles for his grandchildren? He's not fighting about it. Don't fight him about his lager beer. That's very powerful.
Painful reality.
You see, this metaphor.
Yes.
This metaphor is what plays across the whole of Nigeria. There are states in Nigeria, including Lagos, that have more than 10 natural occurring resources. Do you know about gas and oil in Nigeria? You see, they call us an oil-producing state. Please go do research. We are not an oil-producing state with gas. We are a gas-producing state with oil. Our gas is a large deposit, maybe second or third among OPEC-producing countries of the world. Maybe the largest in Africa. Go find out.
I know because when you say this, because I remember that I told them there's a particular community in Bielsa. It's called Obuna. The Obuna community is running on electricity. That's gas, because there's an LNG plant there. There's a plant there, and that community, even to the pharmacy uses AC. The pharmacy, they don't pay anything at all concerning, because it's just there. It's there.
Our gas deposits
It's huge.
are huge.
It's huge. So, but how do we? Because the conversation now goes beyond. We're looking at the government, but the government not properly helping. Well, what can we do as a people so that these things that we have,
Yes.
we can truly earn and enjoy it?
Yes, yes. The problem with Nigerian African leadership is the principle called by the professor Nasib Nicholas Talib. He wrote a book, Anti-Fragile Systems. He spoke about something called skin in the game. We have an economy and a country and a culture where people don't have skin in the game. Make our leaders responsible for governance, give them authority, give them control, but make them responsible. If you are found wanting, go to jail.
Yeah.
You see, the government and the people that make policies for us don't have a reason why the General Hospital must work, because their doctors are in London or Switzerland. There are ministers of state whose children are not in school here. I mean, you don't care whether ASU is on strike or whoever is on strike for the next 10 years. True. Let us start having skin in the game. First of all your health stuff will be the Minister of Health. Your doctor will be here. All the machines to check you for your annual checkup will be here. Let's start from that. Let's make this. Let's write laws. There's a way in your ward, your community, write and do a vote and say National Assembly, debate this. People go to National Assembly, do rally and shout and say health bill. We want you, Mr. Health Minister, and everybody to only go to hospitals in your constituency. We want you to use services from your constituency, all your services from your constituency. Let's start from there. Education, let's send it across all sectors, where we all consume the same things. Then I will clear. That's number one. Number two, you see the politics of our natural minerals in Africa and Nigeria is bigger than one man. There are whole institutions and what I call global runners. Institutions like the IMF, like all these big guys who don't want that mining sector or the natural occurring mineral sectors of Africa to rise up beyond the crude days. What's happening today is that people are taking guns and they will go to where it is mined and they will shoot everybody and they become the chief mining person. This is what happens across all the mines in Nigeria today. The Inspector General of Police knows, the Chief of Army Staff is in notice. But that is why we have a Commander-in-Chief that sits in the rock. You see, Aso Rock is not a joke. You understand? I'm standing on Christ, the solid rock. So when you're in that position, it is a position of power. This is why it was relocated from Lagos to where the rock is, which is region of spiritual administration of Nigeria, which is the Middle Belt zone. But that's discussion that's too deep and too spiritual. But at the end of the day, he's the man on that seat. One, get the Chief of Army Staff. Everybody. It's a matter of national security. All our mineral sites must be governed, properly administered by the sitting apparatus of states that has been made responsible. The governor, the state commissioner of police, everyone involved per region, these things should be administered at that level and then reported to the center. I've said Nigeria is too big. Let us declutter. Let's make it smaller units, federated smaller units, and then they can report to the center. But at the end of the day, the minerals in Lagos must be administered for with the office of the sitting Chief Secretary of the State, the governor, and his ministers and all of that, with the people of that community. People go and take picture. I've always believed in transparency. Make it open. Take picture. Go to the place. Use drones to show how they are mining. Today, in this quarry, they've done 33,000 grams of gold. It has gone today. Let this be captured, put on a website. Let's make a lot of noise about it. Very soon, very, very soon, water will find this level. But we don't even know what they are mining out. Let me shock you. I told you 50% of the crude that leaves Nigeria today is being accounted for. The remaining 50, what we are scampering on, the remaining 50 is going to black market. That's what's going on.
Okay. Now let's move over into the Edo crisis.
Yep.
There seems to be a love lost between the governor of Edo State and his deputy.
Yes.
Even when they both were in APC,
Yeah.
they moved to PDP.
Yeah.
And as it is now, one of them has moved out of the government house.
Yes.
A few days ago, the deputy governor precisely went back to the place, ostensibly, I believe, to see the governor. It was denied entry. But the rough fight between the governor and the deputy seems to be taking the limelight.
Yes.
Governance is relegated
Yes.
in Edo State.
Yes. Have you been to any couple to settle fights? They are the one that settles the fight using you as an intermediary. Eventually, you actually are an umpire. Say, Madam, speak. Husband, speak. Say, yeah, pause. That's what you are doing. You see what's going on between Mr. Is it Obaseki?
Yes.
His Excellency.
His Excellency, Godwin Obaseki, right? And his deputy,
Philip Shuaibu.
Philip Shuaibu, a former justice and political ally. We will just be debating. The two of them know what is going on. What is making them angry? The fight on the outside. I've read the press reports. I've tried to look at the press materials about the fight. Nobody is talking about the real issues. There are some issues going on. There's something biting both of them. I mean, we're discussing earlier. I think that, I mean, for someone to take you as deputy governor and people are saying, drop him, and then you didn't drop him. And all of a sudden, there's an adage in Yoruba language that says, if a dog used to see you and dance and wag its tail, all of a sudden it begins to bark. So in between both of them, there are silent issues that they can't talk about. Now, when people are fighting, say in Yoruba language, Oshemi, emi no share. And people say, so what is the problem? And they say, no, I'm angry with him. And then another party is saying, no, I'm also angry with him. It means that there are things that don't want us to hear.
Yeah, let's not lose sight of the fact that Shuaibu will naturally want to succeed the governor. And the governor is making it clear that we have to rotate, as has been the practice. You know, we can't give you power going forward and all of that. So at the point in time, Shuaibu even went into the court to institute a suit against the government to stop him from being impeached.
Yeah.
Yes.
But like you said, there are other undertones. But on paper, we have it that it's got to do with succession planning. Now, for us, we will...
Shuaibu's alleged
Yes.
ambition.
Yes, ambition, yeah. And for us, it's been... we've been noticing Edo with keen interest. Why? Because this governor has been in several fights up until this time, and the people are suffering, right? So I want you to look at it relative to what plays out in Nigeria generally.
Yes.
The role of the deputy governor, the governor, and how it affects governance generally.
Yes. God bless your wisdom. You see, the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and the setup of the office of the governor and the deputy governor gives too much latitude of power and control to the sitting governor. The executive powers of the state, by, I think, Section 193, if I'm correct, I stand to be correct on that, of the Constitution, makes it very, 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 very... In fact, the sitting deputy governor is a senior commissioner. Please read the Constitution. That's why he calls him. Same for presidency. It's a very powerful, like you shown on the screen, how the man was outside and is on video.
Yes.
Now, that's a lot. That's showing the powers of the governor. He can lock him out. It is his state.
Sorry, hold on, please. Let's hear the deputy governor.
And the gate is locked. I am padlocking the gate thing. Then padlock the gate. I'm padlocking the gate thing, the chain and key. Both the outer gate and the inner one, they padlock and chain it. The governor said they should lock it. That they are using the office for something else. I have not moved to anywhere. Nobody has given me letter to move to anywhere. Nobody has given me letter. So if governor say I've moved, I'm not moved. I'm not moved. The governor did not give me letter. Nobody has given me letter to move. So how will I move out of my office? I'm here now, the gate is locked. I'm padlocked. So maybe, I don't know. So I call the governor, is not picking. So you call the governor that I didn't move because I didn't get any letter to move. Only the civil servant got letter to move. I'm told that the civil servant were given letter from the office of HOS to move out of this place. But me, I didn't get any letter to move. So I'm here. Let you come and open the gate, please.
You can say lamentations of Felix Schweib.
Yep. That's actually very sad.
On the Constitution and how
yes.
it affects
The Constitution gives the governor such powers. He is the chief executive officer of the state.
Excessive power.
Excessive power. There's no balance of power when it comes to a state and a state governor. The powers available to a state governor, it is those who don't know. There's a Yoruba adage that says, for Bashiri. The powers available to he that doesn't know a king is the one that will, play with the sword. Tobalashe. That's the way the Constitution has been set up today. And the governor knows how to use it. All these things you're looking at is emotions and trying to whip sentiments against the governor. That's a very cheap game to play. They should enter the room and sort the problem.
Sorry, sir.
I also say this to the justice. Manage your boss for the purpose of the people. I'll say this to the governor. The people voted for you. And this quabble between you and your cabinet officer is affecting governance. The buck stops on your table. He is the eldest son of the state. He will be the non-performing governor. This man has his own political backings, has his own constituency, has people that believe in him. The governor also has enemies that will see opportunity in this man as the way to get at removing the governor. He is the governor. Agbára ò ní pé òun ò fẹ́ wọlé, onílé ni ò ní gbà fún. What you see when you see a storm, the storm will want to, or the big volumes of water will want to destroy what you've built. You are the one the governor is not Philip. The governor is His Excellency Obaseki. He should call his man and sort the issues because the buck stops on his table. And for the justice, that's Philip, I have a lot of respect for him, but he should remember that he can be easily removed. The powers available to the governor politically
are enormous.
Mighty.
But constitutionally,
yes,
heavy.
In fact, when you said that,
the court could not help him.
He had to withdraw the case.
Could not help him. That is to tell you that you are dealing with another type of power base.
Just to authenticate what you said earlier, that there are other undercurrent issues. Schweib happens to be the most executive deputy governor in Nigeria. He's one of the deputy governors that had, so to speak, portfolios. He has been very active. He's someone who handled more responsibility than any known deputy governor in Nigeria. So we're just hoping that somehow they will look for a way to solve this impasse because it's dragging too long and the governance is suffering in Edo State.
That's a deep one you said right there. You see, 40 laws of power. I'm sorry I quoted 40 laws of power. Never outshine the master or be seen to outshine the master. You will never survive it. If you must play, this is why I think I don't want to be a politician. I don't know how not to say the truth to anybody in power. I don't know how to look at you in the face and say, yes, sir, when I know you are going to enter the deep. I never trained like that. It's difficult for me. So the truth is, that competence in African politics and culture, that competence is an albatross for people to vest you with power. You must have emotional and political intelligence to appear weaker than you are. You see, how many people have seen Asiwaju's body language since he became president? He can't be the same guy who was doing Bula Balu. A friend of mine said, have you observed, but are you sure that guy was that weak? He was trying to appear weaker than you are. It's better for people to underestimate you. But when you are very competent, you're number 2. And Obaseki strikes me, His Excellency strikes me as someone that's a political stalwart. And this man, his deputy, looks like an intellectual. That's simple. Nobody's going to put it this way I'm putting it, because it's not politically correct to say it openly. Yeah. But that simple body language can make the governor very uncomfortable. I'm not saying that's what's going on, no, but it can make him and cause all these kind of problems.
Yes.
Okay. Well, David Adeoye, a management consultant and management coach, it's been a pleasure having you here live in the studio.
Thank you so much.
Perhaps before you leave again to the United Kingdom, we could have you again.
Thank you
or
so
maybe
much.
next it will virtually.
Thank
But
you so
whichever
much.
one. Thank you so much for coming on to the program.
Thank you for having me. Awesome work you're doing. Thank you very much.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And that's our bit today on Morning Flight, Tuesday's edition of Morning Flight on Love What Experience with you and Team Beyond Brothers. We'll be back again tomorrow, bigger, better, fresher, stronger, and hotter. My name is Segun Adebo Wale.
My name is Christopher Siabe.
My name is Paul Basa, the ambassador. God bless you and have a fruitful Tuesday. Bye-bye.
See you tomorrow.